Good evening, and welcome to Sleepy Night Channel. Tonight, we drift into the early journey of Cristiano Ronaldo, with the warm island breezes of the Atlantic and the steady rhythm of a bouncing ball. For now, there is nothing you need to do. Just get comfortable and listen. Soft bell chimes and gentle ambience stay with us throughout, quiet and steady. If you'd like more calm bedtime episodes, you can like the video or leave a short comment below. It helps this channel reach others who need something quiet at night. Now, let's begin. The day slowly comes to an end, as the bright sun dips below the vast, unbroken horizon of the Atlantic Ocean. We leave the loud, rushing world behind, traveling to a small, quiet island made of dark volcanic rock and deep green valleys. This is the island of Madeira, a peaceful and isolated piece of land resting quietly in the middle of the deep blue water. The air here is always warm and slightly heavy with salt, carrying the gentle scent of ocean mist and blooming coastal flowers through the narrow, winding streets. Take a slow breath and let the day fade a little more as you picture the calm waves rolling steadily against the ancient stone seawalls. There is nothing you need to solve right now, so just let your thoughts drift along with the slow, predictable rhythm of the evening tide. Long before the massive crowds and the global broadcasts, the story of this incredible athlete began in absolute, uninterrupted quiet. It is a story not of sudden, loud magic, but of slow, deliberate repetition, built carefully in the warm shadows of a modest island neighborhood. Now imagine a narrow, cobblestone street, bathed in the soft, fading golden light of the late afternoon. The only sound echoing between the quiet houses is the soft, rhythmic thud of a small, worn football bouncing gently against an old wooden door. Evidence suggests that true, lasting mastery begins exactly like this, in the empty spaces where no one is watching and the world is completely still. The young boy would spend countless hours alone, kicking the ball over and over again, learning how the physical object moved through the heavy island air. Let your jaw unclench and feel the solid comfort of the mattress beneath you as you listen to that steady, imagined rhythm. You are safe and secure in your own space, while the young athlete finds his own deep comfort in the predictable mechanics of the bouncing ball. This constant, repetitive motion acted as a natural anchor, a way to organize his busy thoughts and find a sense of complete physical control. Every time the ball left his foot and returned, it created a closed loop of focus, clearing the mind of any outside worries or chaotic distractions. And this connects back to the idea of discipline not as a strict punishment, but as a deeply calming and protective structure for the human mind. By returning to the exact same movement thousands of times, the body learns to relax into the action, turning a difficult physical task into a smooth and effortless habit. As the evening shadows grow longer, the streetlights flicker on one by one, casting a warm, golden glow over the quiet cobblestones. The other children have already gone inside to rest, but the steady thud of the ball continues, working in perfect harmony with the distant sound of the ocean. Scientists noticed that when humans engage in this kind of slow, rhythmic repetition, the nervous system naturally begins to quiet down and settle. The heart rate synchronizes with the steady physical effort, and the brain enters a smooth, flowing state where time seems to stretch out and gently slow down. Take another slow breath and let the heavy, comforting weight of the night wrap softly around your resting shoulders. There is no rush to get anywhere because the most important work is simply the quiet persistence of showing up, day after day, in the fading light. Another quiet detail is the steep, mountainous terrain of the island itself, which naturally shapes the endurance of anyone walking its winding paths. Navigating these steep hills on foot required a steady, measured pace, building a deep physical strength that rested quietly beneath the surface of the growing boy. For a moment, let that idea rest as you imagine looking down from those high green hills toward the dark, endless expanse of the water. The vastness of the ocean is a gentle reminder of how small the island is, yet it is also a beautiful open canvas that invites the mind to dream of quietly crossing it. The ball itself was often old and heavy, absorbing the moisture of the humid air and becoming much softer to the touch over time. Controlling it required intense focus and a gentle, deliberate connection, teaching the young player how to communicate with the physical world through pure, fluid movement. It is another way of seeing the same idea of falling asleep, where we slowly release our firm grip on the loud, chaotic world and focus entirely on a single, steady rhythm. The mind cannot hold on to the busy, anxious thoughts of the day when it is completely absorbed by the simple, repetitive mechanics of the present moment. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the natural laws of motion and gravity are already guiding the ball perfectly back to where it belongs. You can simply rest in the quiet observation of this ancient practice, feeling the same deep peace that settles over an empty street at night. As the deep blue of the sky turns completely black, the cool evening breeze gently rustles the broad leaves of the palm trees along the coast. The island is now fully preparing for sleep, wrapping its residents in a thick, protective blanket of comfortable silence and soft, rolling ocean air. Eventually, the young athlete stops his practice, catching the worn ball softly in his hands and holding it completely still against his side. The sudden quiet that follows is incredibly peaceful, a heavy and satisfying stillness that only comes after a long period of dedicated, rhythmic, and physical effort. One idea is that this specific type of physical tiredness is the very best preparation for a deep, healing, and unbroken night of sleep. The muscles are warm and pleasantly exhausted, and the mind is completely clear, ready to surrender all of its waking control over to the comforting dark. Now imagine the slow, quiet walk back to his small home, his footsteps echoing softly and steadily on the ancient, uneven stones. The air cools nicely against his skin, and the distant, rhythmic crash of the Atlantic waves provides a natural lullaby that sweeps across the entire sleeping island. Let your jaw unclench and feel your own muscles sinking deeper into the soft support of your bed, perfectly matching that feeling of pleasant exhaustion. You are exactly where you need to be, safe inside a quiet space that has been specifically designed for your ultimate rest and recovery. Inside the modest houses of Madeira, the warm lights are turned off one by one, leaving only the silver glow of the moon to illuminate the steep, quiet valleys. The entire island breathes together in a slow, collective rhythm, completely disconnected from the rushing pace of the massive continents far across the dark water. Evidence suggests that growing up in such an isolated, peaceful environment allows the human nervous system to develop a profound and lasting baseline of calm. When the environment is quiet and predictable, the mind learns how to generate its own internal focus, a soothing skill that will remain firmly rooted for a lifetime. And with that in mind, we can see how the foundation of a massive global journey was built entirely on a platform of silence and steady, unwavering repetition. The massive, loud arenas of the future are completely absent here, replaced only by the gentle sound of the wind moving through the tall coastal grass. As the night deepens, the young player finally closes his eyes, letting the heavy, comforting sleep pressure wash smoothly over his tired frame. The rhythmic memory of the bouncing ball slowly fades into the background, merging perfectly with the slow and steady beating of his own resting heart. Take a slow breath and allow yourself to follow that same descending path into the deep, restorative, and welcoming shadows of the night. The simple, repetitive work of the day is completely finished, and there is absolutely nothing left to do but rest safely and recover in the dark. The quiet island of Madeira will remain completely still until the morning light gently returns to warm the dark volcanic stone. We will leave the sleeping streets behind for now, knowing that this deep foundation of discipline has been safely locked away in the quiet dark. As the island of Madeira rests deeply in the quiet hours of the night, the internal world of the young athlete begins to quietly take shape. Long before the physical muscles are fully formed, a delicate and invisible architecture is being built entirely within the mind. This architecture is made of simple, predictable routines that repeat with a comforting certainty every single day. It is a quiet, mechanical process of organizing the hours, creating a safe and steady framework that keeps the unpredictable chaos of the outside world far away. Take a slow breath and let the day fade a little more as you picture the absolute stillness of a room just before dawn. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the structure of the day has already been gently decided for you. In the very early morning, long before the sun rises over the dark ocean, the act of waking up becomes the first quiet piece of this daily structure. There is no rushing or sudden alarm, only the calm and deliberate decision to leave the heavy comfort of sleep and step into the cool air. Now imagine the simple, rhythmic task of preparing for the day in the dim blue light of the early morning. The slow, familiar movement of pulling on a thick sock and carefully tying the laces of a worn pair of boots creates a deep sense of physical grounding. Evidence suggests that these small physical rituals act as a powerful signal to the human nervous system, telling the body exactly what is going to happen next. By removing the need to make countless small choices, the mind is allowed to remain incredibly calm and completely free of anxious energy. Let your jaw unclench and feel the solid comfort of the mattress beneath you, fully supporting your resting frame. You are safe and secure inside your own routine, wrapped in the familiar heavy blankets that gently protect your deep sleep. And this connects back to the idea of discipline, not as a rigid set of rules, but as a deeply comforting and protective shelter. When the physical actions of the day are exactly the same as the day before, the athlete builds a quiet house of habit where the mind can peacefully reside. Another quiet detail is the profound silence of walking to the training ground while the rest of the island is still deeply asleep. The streets are completely empty, and the cool, damp mist from the ocean settles gently over the quiet cobblestones, dampening every distant sound. For a moment, let that idea rest as you listen to the steady, rhythmic sound of footsteps walking through the morning fog. The air is fresh and completely still, carrying only the faint, earthy scent of wet soil and the sleeping coastal trees. The moisture in the air clings gently to the thick fabric of the training clothes, adding a pleasant, cool weight to the steady movement of walking. It is a deeply sensory experience where the complete lack of human voices allows the mind to notice the beautiful, subtle details of the waking earth. Scientists noticed that starting the day in absolute quiet allows the brain to wake up at its own natural, unhurried pace. It is another way of seeing the same idea of a slow transition, giving the complex biology of the body plenty of time to leave the heavy shadows of the night behind. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the path forward is already clearly paved by the thousands of mornings that came before this one. You can simply rest in the quiet observation of this solitary walk, feeling the calm assurance that comes from knowing exactly where you are going. When the young player finally steps onto the wet grass of the empty pitch, the physical structure of the discipline begins its daily, rhythmic work. The first touches of the ball are slow and highly deliberate, gently waking up the muscles and warming the heavy joints in the cool air. It is a masterpiece of biological patience, allowing the body to slowly synchronize with the mind through the simple act of repetitive motion. With every single pass, the nervous system settles a little deeper into its familiar groove, finding total peace in the perfect predictability of the bouncing ball. As the body continues its steady work, the physical temperature begins to rise, creating a warm, comfortable contrast with the cool island morning. This internal warmth spreads slowly from the center of the chest all the way out to the fingertips, loosening any remaining tension left over from the night's sleep. Take another slow breath and allow your own breathing to match the steady, measured pace of this early morning practice. The physical effort is not a strain, but rather a comforting and familiar rhythm that safely carries the athlete through the quietest hours of the day. If we return to that simple picture, we see a young person who has discovered the profound secret of finding absolute stillness while remaining in constant motion. The world outside the grass pitch might be completely unpredictable, but within the white lines, gravity and physics always behave in exactly the same comforting way. The sound of the leather boot striking the soft synthetic panel of the ball becomes a deep, meditative drumbeat that anchors the passing minutes. One idea is that humans are naturally drawn to these steady acoustic patterns because they gently remind the resting brain of a slow and steady heartbeat. The architecture of discipline slowly grows stronger with every passing week, quietly stacking one peaceful morning on top of another. It creates a deep reserve of mental energy, ensuring that the mind is never exhausted by the noise and the sudden surprises of the wide, waking world. Let the day fade a little more and feel the heavy, protective architecture of your own quiet room, keeping you safe from the outside world. The solid walls and the heavy roof are acting as your own personal sanctuary, allowing you to completely surrender your waking thoughts to the safe and comforting dark. As the sun finally begins to rise, casting long, soft shadows across the damp grass, the most important work of the day has already been completed in total silence. The foundation has been perfectly laid, proving that the greatest physical achievements are always built on a steady base of quiet, unobserved patience. The small island of Madeira has provided the perfect, isolated nursery for this discipline to take deep root and grow strong in the dark. But as the young athlete's internal structure becomes solid and unshakable, the time slowly approaches to leave the safe harbor of the ancient, rocky coast. We are ready now to drift a little deeper into the journey, preparing to watch the quiet shores of the island slowly disappear into the morning mist. The heavy wooden boats and the calm night flights are waiting to carry this deeply ingrained discipline across the silent, breathing ocean toward the distant mainland. The time eventually comes when the quiet architecture built on the island must be gently lifted and carried across the dark water. Leaving the familiar cobblestone streets of Madeira behind, the young athlete begins a slow, silent journey toward the distant mainland of Portugal. Now imagine the profound stillness of traveling through the very middle of the night, suspended safely high above the ocean. The small airplane moves with a steady, continuous hum, creating a heavy blanket of sound that perfectly insulates the passengers from the outside world. Take a slow breath and let the day fade a little more as you picture looking out of a small, thick window into the pitch black. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the journey is already safely underway and completely out of your hands. Evidence suggests that long journeys in the dark have a naturally calming and deeply restorative effect on the human mind. Without the busy visual distractions of the waking daylight, the brain turns gently inward, finding deep peace in the steady vibration of forward travel. And this connects back to the solid architecture of discipline we built on the quiet island shores. The young athlete carried that internal structure with him, a quiet, protective house of habit that traveled effortlessly and invisibly across the ocean. Let your jaw unclench and feel the solid comfort of your mattress supporting you, just like the heavy, secure seat of the airplane. You are completely safe, suspended in the quiet dark, moving steadily and calmly toward a brand new morning. Far below the flight path, the vast Atlantic Ocean rolls on in total silence, completely indifferent to the human world moving above it. It is another way of seeing the same idea of immense quiet power, moving continuously without ever needing to rush or make a loud noise. For a moment, let that idea rest as you feel the calm, forward momentum of the dark and endless night. The small island slowly disappears entirely behind the horizon, safely holding all the ancient memories of the bouncing ball in the damp streets. The final destination is the mainland, the historic city of Lisbon, which is currently sleeping quietly under the pale European stars. But for now, there is only the quiet space in between, a peaceful bridge of air and water that offers a perfect moment of suspension and deep rest. Scientists noticed that this specific type of transitional space allows the nervous system to fully reset before a new chapter officially begins. The young mind is not worried about the distant destination, but simply resting completely in the gentle, rhythmic hum of the present moment. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the dark night is handling all the heavy lifting of the journey for you. You can simply close your eyes and let the continuous, deep sound of the crossing wash softly over your tired thoughts. As the hours pass quietly in the dark cabin, the breathing of the passengers slowly falls into a deep, synchronized, and heavy rhythm. The young player sleeps soundly, his mind perfectly calm and his muscles fully relaxed, trusting the steady, reliable mechanics of the flight. We leave the quiet crossing here, knowing that the morning will eventually bring the very first sight of a new, unfamiliar, and misty coast. The discipline and the quiet focus are safely packed away in the dark, perfectly ready to be unpacked in the silent dawn of the sleeping city. The flight from the quiet island finally touches down in the ancient city of Lisbon, safely delivering the young athlete to a completely new and vast world. Even though the mainland is massive and filled with busy, waking streets, the familiar architecture of discipline immediately goes to work finding a quiet, structured space. Long before the sun rises over the historic terracotta roofs of the city, the heavy iron gates of the sporting academy remain closed and entirely still. It is in these dark, early hours that the true foundation of global mastery is quietly poured, far away from the eyes of evaluating coaches or cheering crowds. Take a slow breath and let the day fade a little more as you picture the absolute silence of those empty academy pitches. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the thick morning mist has wrapped the flat green grass in a protective, comforting blanket of cool white. Now imagine a single figure stepping out of the sleeping dormitory building, walking slowly and deliberately toward the waiting, empty fields. The only sound in the damp air is the soft, rhythmic clicking of metal cleats on the concrete pathway, echoing gently against the ancient stone walls. This steady, repetitive sound acts as a natural anchor, a simple acoustic rhythm that prepares the resting mind for the focused physical work ahead. It is another way of seeing the same idea of a calming routine, where a highly predictable noise signals to the body that it is time to quietly and smoothly engage. When the heavy boots finally step off the hard concrete and onto the soft, wet earth of the pitch, the silence of the morning becomes even more profound. The thick dew on the grass instantly soaks the leather, keeping the feet cool and firmly connected to the solid, reliable ground below. Evidence suggests that walking on fresh, damp earth naturally grounds the human nervous system, slowly draining away the anxious static of the modern world. The young player stands completely alone in the center of the vast green space, surrounded only by the deep, earthy smell of wet soil and resting nature. Let your jaw unclench and feel the solid comfort of your mattress supporting you, just like the reliable, flat surface of the academy grass. You are safe and secure inside your dark room, entirely removed from the heavy expectations of the day, just as the pitch is carefully removed from the noise of the waking city. Another quiet detail is the way the heavy morning mist diffuses the early light, turning the world into a soft, glowing canvas of muted gray and deep green. There are no sharp shadows or bright, harsh glares to navigate, only a gentle and even illumination that rests easily on the waking eyes. In this perfectly insulated environment, the young athlete begins the slow, methodical process of physical repetition once again. The ball rolls smoothly across the wet blades of grass, creating a faint, continuous shushing sound that blends perfectly with the quiet, steady breathing of the player. And this connects back to the bouncing ball on the island, moving the exact same quiet focus from the hard cobblestones to the soft mainland earth. The physical location has completely changed, but the internal architecture of discipline remains exactly the same, providing a safe and familiar harbor for the focused mind. Scientists noticed that when an athlete practices in total isolation, they develop a profound internal sense of how their own body moves through empty space. Without teammates to watch or loud coaches to listen to, the mind turns completely inward, listening only to the steady rhythm of the beating heart and the expanding lungs. For a moment, let that idea rest as you feel the calm, internal focus of your own heavy and resting body. Every slow pass of the ball on the wet grass is a quiet conversation between the muscle and the mind, building a deep physical vocabulary entirely in the dark. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the repetitive morning drills are already organizing the chaos of the waking world into a neat, predictable line. You can simply rest in the quiet observation of this solitary work, knowing that thousands of these silent, misty mornings are slowly stacking together to build a masterpiece of motion. As the city of Lisbon finally begins to stir in the far distance, the heavy mist slowly lifts to reveal the vast, empty expanse of the green pitches. The young player finishes the quiet session, gathering the worn footballs and walking peacefully back toward the dormitories before the rest of the academy even opens its eyes. As we drift a little deeper, we leave the damp morning grass behind and prepare to look closely at the invisible biology of these countless quiet repetitions. We are ready now to explore the silent, remarkable science of muscle memory, where the resting body learns to hold the quiet lessons of the morning safely in its deepest cells. Leaving the misty fields of the Lisbon Academy behind, we turn our attention inward, gently moving beneath the surface of the skin to observe a quiet and invisible world. We are traveling into the silent, microscopic pathways of the human nervous system, where the true foundation of athletic mastery is quietly built in the dark. Take a slow breath and let the day fade a little more as you picture the steady, rhythmic beating of a resting heart. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the incredible biology of your own body has been managing these complex systems perfectly since the very day you were born. Scientists noticed that every time a physical action is repeated, a tiny electrical signal travels down the exact same specific pathway of connecting nerves. If this precise movement is practiced over and over again in complete stillness, the body responds by gently wrapping those nerve fibers in a protective, insulating layer known as myelin. And this connects back to the quiet hours spent kicking the worn football against the old wooden door on the island of Madeira. The young athlete was not simply passing the time in the evening shadows, but unknowingly building a vast and highly efficient network of insulated pathways deep within his growing brain. In practice, this beautiful biological process of insulation works very much like wrapping a thick, heavy rubber coating around a delicate copper wire. As the protective layer grows stronger and more dense with each quiet morning session, the internal electrical signals are able to travel faster and with absolute, effortless precision. Let your jaw unclench and feel the heavy, comforting weight of your muscles sinking smoothly into the mattress beneath you. You are safe and secure inside your own room, supported by the exact same remarkable nervous system that naturally knows how to heal and organize itself in the quiet dark. This incredible process of gradual insulation is what we commonly refer to as muscle memory, even though the physical muscles themselves are simply following the calm instructions of the mind. It is a quiet mechanical process of delegation, where the conscious brain slowly hands over the heavy lifting of movement to the automatic resting systems of the body. If we return to that simple picture of the solitary player on the misty academy grass, we see a mind that is gradually becoming more and more quiet with every passing hour. As the insulated pathways grow thicker, there is no longer any need to actively think about how to place the foot or how to shift the weight, allowing all conscious thoughts to completely settle. Evidence suggests that reaching this state of automatic, fluid movement is one of the most profoundly calming experiences a human being can possibly have. It creates a deep and lasting sense of physical peace, knowing that the body will simply do exactly what it has been trained to do without any panicked or rushed intervention. Now imagine the absolute silence of the mind when it no longer has to actively manage the complex mechanics of running, turning, or striking the heavy leather ball. The internal monologue completely fades away, replaced by a smooth and unbroken flow of pure, instinctual motion that feels as natural and easy as breathing the cool morning air. Take another slow breath and allow your own breathing to match this slow, effortless, and automatic rhythm of the resting human form. There is no effort required to draw the air in or to gently let it go, because the quiet, ancient wisdom of your biology is already handling every necessary detail for you perfectly. Another quiet detail is that this miraculous process of insulating the nerve fibers does not actually happen while the athlete is out on the training pitch working in the damp grass. The physical practice merely sends the signal of what is needed, but the actual construction of the myelin sheath takes place entirely while the body is deeply and heavily asleep. It is another way of seeing the same idea of natural balance, where the active, waking work of the morning is utterly dependent on the complete surrender of the night. The long hours of rest are never a waste of precious time, but rather the most critical and productive phase of building a masterpiece of predictable, fluid motion. During the deepest, quietest stages of the sleep cycle, the brain quietly reviews the repetitive motions of the day and carefully strengthens the corresponding pathways in the dark. It is a highly organized and deeply restorative phase of internal cleaning and building, carried out in total, unbroken silence while the conscious mind is safely dreaming. For a moment, let that idea rest as you feel the comforting, heavy pressure of sleep gently pulling at your own tired eyes. You are perfectly positioned to begin this exact same process of cellular repair and gentle organization, simply trusting the vast, quiet night to heal the efforts of your long day. Knowing that sleep is the true builder of skill naturally transforms physical rest from a passive luxury into a deeply respected and highly protective daily discipline. The young player quickly learned to value the dark, quiet hours just as much as the misty mornings spent practicing alone on the damp, green fields of the academy. To protect this vital recovery time, the evenings became a structured sanctuary of winding down, deliberately lowering the heart rate and stepping away from the bright, artificial lights. It is a quiet, mechanical process of deceleration, allowing the core temperature of the body to drop slowly and preparing the nervous system to gracefully accept the heavy weight of sleep. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the slow and inevitable transition from waking to resting is an ancient biological rhythm that requires absolutely no conscious effort. You can simply rest in the comforting knowledge that your body is designed to seek out this peace, naturally guiding you toward the soft, protective shadows of the night. Over the passing years of endless repetition, the thousands of hours of practice and the countless nights of heavy, unbroken sleep began to yield an incredible, visible result. The movements on the pitch lost all their sharp edges and any trace of hesitation, smoothing out into a continuous, flowing dance that perfectly respected the quiet laws of physics and gravity. When the foot met the ball, it was no longer a conscious decision, but a deeply ingrained automatic reflex that had been perfectly polished by the slow passage of time. The chaotic noise of the outside world simply could not penetrate this heavily insulated, deeply internal network of calm and physical certainty. And with that in mind, we can understand how the sheer repetition of a simple action eventually builds a quiet fortress of confidence that can withstand any external pressure. The biology of muscle memory had successfully turned deliberate, solitary hard work into a quiet, reliable instinct that would stay safely with him across every new border and distant ocean. Let the day fade a little more and feel the heavy protective architecture of your own quiet routine, keeping you safely insulated from the busy, waking world. The solid walls and the heavy roof are acting as your own personal sanctuary, allowing the deep, restorative biology of your cells to begin their quiet, nocturnal work in peace. The young athlete has mastered the internal world of nerves and pathways, creating a perfectly functioning biological machine that operates with absolute, silent grace. The foundation of discipline has merged flawlessly with the science of repetition, preparing the physical form for the next great challenge of interacting with the physical forces of the earth. We are ready now to drift a little deeper into the journey, moving our perspective outward from the microscopic pathways of the brain back to the open, damp air of the pitch. We will leave the quiet biology behind for now to explore the slow, magnificent physics of flight, watching how a perfectly struck ball interacts peacefully with the invisible wind. Leaving the quiet biology of the nervous system behind, we return our focus to the physical world of the damp training pitch. The perfectly insulated pathways in the mind have done their invisible work, and the athlete is now ready to interact beautifully with the natural forces of the earth. Take a slow breath and let the day fade a little more as you picture the heavy leather ball resting completely still on the wet grass. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the ancient laws of physics are perfectly consistent and always ready to quietly guide the motion. Now imagine the slow, highly deliberate process of preparing for a single, focused strike. The player carefully places the ball on a specific tuft of damp grass, taking the time to ensure it sits perfectly balanced and secure against the soft dirt. Evidence suggests that this small, quiet moment of preparation is a crucial part of the athlete's mental routine. By controlling exactly how the ball rests on the ground, the player creates a perfectly predictable starting point, effectively removing any chaotic variables before the movement even begins. Once the ball is firmly set, the player takes a few slow, measured steps backward, creating a precise geometric angle between his body and his distant target. It is a quiet, mechanical process of setting up the correct trajectory, slowly building a physical runway for the stored energy to safely travel down. Let your jaw unclench and feel the solid comfort of the mattress fully supporting your own resting frame. You are safe and secure inside your room, just as the athlete is safely anchored by the familiar, reliable dimensions of the green grass pitch. Standing completely still at the end of his runway, the player takes a single, deep breath, pulling the cool morning air down into his chest. This slow expansion of the lungs serves to naturally lower the heart rate, pushing away the noise of the outside world and focusing all remaining energy entirely into the present second. And this connects back to the very first moments on the island of Madeira, where a bouncing ball created a quiet, unbroken loop of total focus. The massive cheering stadiums are still far away, and right now there is only the peaceful, silent relationship between the heavy boot and the resting sphere. As the run-up begins, it is not a sudden, rushed movement, but a smooth and accelerating glide over the damp earth. The muscles, perfectly insulated by years of repetition in the dark, fire in a flawless automatic sequence that requires absolutely no conscious thought. When the foot finally connects with the leather, there is a deep, satisfying acoustic thud, a heavy sound that echoes softly across the empty fields. In that tiny fraction of a second, an immense amount of stored energy is transferred directly from the grounded body into the absolute center of the resting ball. For a moment, let that idea rest as you imagine watching the ball lift off the grass in incredibly slow motion. The heavy leather slightly deforms around the shape of the foot, safely absorbing the kinetic power before springing instantly back into a perfect aerodynamic globe. The moment it leaves the ground, it enters the invisible rivers of the air, interacting smoothly with the complex currents of the morning wind. Scientists noticed that by striking the ball in a very specific, slightly off-center way, the athlete can gently force the object to spin rapidly as it flies. This rapid spinning creates a quiet, beautiful manipulation of air pressure, naturally bending the flight path in a smooth, sweeping curve. As the ball rotates, it pulls the surrounding air along with it, creating a difference in pressure that allows the heavy object to glide effortlessly through the empty sky. It is a masterpiece of applied physics, a perfectly calculated equation that happens entirely without numbers or written formulas. The player simply watches the flight in total silence, standing perfectly balanced on the damp grass, already feeling exactly where the journey will end. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because gravity is already waiting patiently to guide the ball back down to the earth. You can simply rest in the quiet observation of this perfect arc, tracing the smooth and predictable line it paints against the grey morning sky. Eventually, the graceful flight comes to a soft and sudden end as the ball is caught gently by the white, woven netting of the goal. The kinetic energy is safely absorbed by the heavy ropes, leaving the grass pitch completely silent and wonderfully still once again. It is another way of seeing the same idea of a completed cycle, where a beautiful burst of focused effort always returns to a state of total rest. The young player has mastered the physics of flight, proving that the heaviest forces of nature can be guided with a quiet, patient, and highly disciplined touch. As we drift a little deeper, we leave the quiet, misty mornings of Lisbon behind and prepare for a much longer journey to the distant north. We are ready now to cross the ocean once more, traveling toward the heavy, steady rainfall and the historic red brick architecture of Manchester. Leaving the misty fields of Lisbon, the journey moves north across the dark, rolling ocean toward the colder climates of England. The warm, salty breeze of the Atlantic island is slowly replaced by a heavy, grey sky and the deep, steady chill of the northern air. When the young athlete arrives in the historic city of Manchester, he is immediately greeted by the continuous, rhythmic falling of the English rain. It is a completely different world, built of dark red brick and vast, heavy clouds that seem to rest gently just above the treetops. Take a slow breath and let the day fade a little more as you picture the quiet, grey afternoon settling over the city. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the heavy rain is already doing the comforting work of washing the busy world completely clean. Scientists noticed that the sound of steady rain acts as a natural form of white noise, deeply soothing the human nervous system. The millions of tiny water drops hitting the ground create a thick, acoustic blanket that easily blocks out the sudden, sharp noises of the waking city. And this connects back to the quiet, rhythmic thud of the bouncing ball on the cobblestone streets of Madeira. The steady, drumming sound of the Manchester rain provided a brand new, natural metronome for the young player to anchor his focused mind onto. Now imagine stepping out onto the training pitch in the middle of a slow, freezing downpour. The heavy, wet earth smells deeply of rich soil and crushed grass, an ancient and grounding scent that instantly connects the body to the physical world. The cold air is sharp and incredibly fresh, filling the expanding lungs with a sudden, waking clarity. Instead of fighting the uncomfortable chill, the athlete's internal architecture of discipline simply accepts it, safely folding the heavy rain into the daily, quiet routine. Let your jaw unclench and feel the solid comfort of the warm blankets wrapped securely around you. You are safe and protected inside your dry room, able to simply listen to the imagined, comforting sound of the water falling steadily outside your window. Out on the wet grass, the physical mechanics of the game begin to change and adapt to the heavy, damp environment. The leather ball glides across the soaked pitch with a sudden increased speed, skimming smoothly over the thin layer of surface water. Evidence suggests that adapting to these difficult, slippery conditions naturally lowers a player's center of gravity and forces a deeper, more profound sense of physical balance. Every single step must be perfectly calculated and firmly planted, turning the wet training session into a quiet masterclass of stability and careful control. As the physical effort continues, a soft, white steam begins to rise gently from the shoulders of the athlete, mixing quietly with the falling rain. It is a visible, beautiful sign of the internal heat being generated by the resting body, a quiet engine burning steadily in the middle of a freezing landscape. Not far away, the massive, empty stadium sits completely still, listening to the millions of raindrops hitting its thousands of folded seats. The acoustic echo of the heavy rain creates a vast, whispering hum that wraps the entire city in a deep and profound state of resting calm. It is another way of seeing the same idea of growth, where a harsh and demanding environment actually builds a much stronger and more resilient foundation. The cold rain is not a barrier, but a brilliant, natural teacher that silently corrects any small mistakes in posture or delicate footwork. For a moment, let that idea rest as you feel the heavy, grounding weight of your own body pressing softly into the mattress. You are perfectly balanced and entirely secure, deeply rooted in the present moment while the busy world outside continues to gently spin. After hours of focused repetition in the freezing rain, the physical exhaustion is completely different from the warm tiredness felt back on the island. The muscles burn with a deep, satisfying heat that contrasts beautifully with the freezing, wet cotton of the heavy training clothes. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because this specific type of cold exhaustion leads directly into the most profound and heavy stages of sleep. The body craves the warmth of recovery, pulling the conscious mind down into the dark much faster and with a much heavier, soothing gravity. When the player finally steps inside the quiet, heated buildings of the training ground, the immediate contrast is incredibly peaceful. The sudden absence of the falling rain creates a heavy, ringing silence, a safe and insulated space where the damp chill can finally be left behind. As the weeks turned into months, the grey skies of Manchester became a deeply familiar and comforting canopy over the athlete's daily life. The quiet discipline built in the sunshine proved perfectly capable of surviving the cold, anchoring the mind no matter what the weather decided to do. We are ready now to follow the player out of the cold, wet air and step into the absolute quiet of the inner rooms. As we drift a little deeper into the journey, we will explore the hidden sanctuary of the changing room, a completely still space of preparation before the massive wooden doors finally open. Leaving the cold, rhythmic rain of the English weather far behind, we step slowly into the heavy, insulated quiet of the inner stadium. Deep beneath the massive, empty stands of Manchester, there is a hidden, windowless space that serves as a quiet sanctuary for the resting mind. Take a slow breath and let the day fade a little more as you picture the absolute stillness of this buried room. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the heavy wooden doors have been firmly closed against the chaotic noise of the waking world. Now imagine the neat, perfectly organized rows of thick cotton shirts and folded socks resting quietly on the dark wooden benches. It is a space designed entirely for deep concentration, where every single physical object has a specific, highly predictable place in the quiet shadows. Scientists noticed that entering a highly structured, familiar environment immediately signals the human brain to begin lowering its defensive barriers. When the waking eyes see exactly what they expect to see, the nervous system naturally stops searching for surprises and simply settles into a state of profound, heavy calm. And this connects back to the quiet architecture of discipline that was first built on the peaceful streets of the island. The young player brought his internal structure directly into this massive concrete room, beautifully transforming any pre-match anxiety into a slow, methodical ritual of physical preparation. The slow, deliberate act of lacing up the heavy leather boots becomes a beautiful form of quiet, moving meditation. Every single pull of the thick strings is a physical anchor, tying the racing thoughts of the mind safely and securely to the solid, reliable ground beneath his feet. Let your jaw unclench and feel the solid comfort of the mattress safely holding you inside your own quiet sanctuary. You are perfectly protected inside your familiar room, just as the athlete is completely protected by the thick, soundproof walls of the stadium's deepest resting place. Another quiet detail is the unique acoustic nature of this buried, windowless space, where voices naturally drop into soft, respectful whispers. The heavy carpet on the floor effortlessly absorbs the sharp sound of shifting cleats, leaving only the slow, collective breathing of the team resting together in the dim light. For a moment, let that idea rest as you feel the heavy, calm potential of that shared silence. It is another way of seeing the same idea of a compressed spring, quietly and patiently gathering all its steady energy before it is finally asked to release. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the wooden doors are still tightly closed, safely holding back the roaring energy of the waiting crowds. You can simply rest in the quiet observation of this final, peaceful moment of total stillness before the heavy work of the evening officially begins. As the time slowly approaches to leave the sanctuary, the internal machinery of the mind is perfectly aligned and heavily insulated against any sudden noise. We are ready now to walk out of the quiet shadows, preparing to follow the long journey as it eventually moves toward the dry, warm, and deeply structured evenings of Madrid. Leaving the enclosed, damp spaces of the northern climate behind, the journey carries us southward toward a vastly different landscape. The heavy grey clouds slowly dissolve into wide, open skies as the athlete arrives in the historic center of the Iberian Peninsula. This is Madrid, a sprawling city built on a high plateau where the atmosphere is noticeably dry and beautifully still. Unlike the constant rhythmic drumming of the English rain, the weather here offers a quiet, baking warmth that settles deeply into the ancient stone architecture throughout the long afternoon. Take a slow breath and let the day fade a little more as you imagine the sun finally beginning to set over the Spanish capital. The intense heat of the day gently releases its grip, allowing the long, soft shadows of evening to stretch peacefully across the wide, tree-lined avenues. Scientists noticed that such a warm, arid climate has a unique, deeply soothing effect on human muscles and joints. Without the biting cold to brace against, the physical body does not need to tense its fibers, naturally encouraging a much smoother and more relaxed state of recovery. And this connects back to the core foundation of his journey, where adapting to the surrounding environment is a quiet and continuous process. The internal discipline that was forged on a humid island and hardened in the freezing rain now gracefully shapes itself to the calm, warm evenings of a brand new home. As the twilight deepens, the massive sky above the city transitions into a breathtaking canvas of deep violet and soft, bruised orange. The cicadas hidden in the suburban pine trees begin their steady, rhythmic hum, creating a natural acoustic blanket that lulls the surrounding neighborhoods into a state of heavy calm. Now imagine the absolute tranquility of an enclosed garden courtyard, safely tucked away from the busy central plazas and the rushing traffic. The warm terracotta tiles beneath the feet have absorbed the sunshine all day, and now they radiate that gentle, comforting warmth upward into the cooling night air. For a moment, let that idea rest as you feel the pleasant contrast of the evening descending upon a sun-warmed earth. It is a beautiful, slow release of stored energy, perfectly mirroring the way a tired athlete slowly lets go of the day's intense physical efforts. Evidence suggests that environments with high daytime temperatures naturally encourage a slower, more deliberate pace of life when the dark finally arrives. The local culture itself embraces this delayed rest, shifting the heaviest, most peaceful hours of relaxation deep into the late night. Let your jaw unclench and feel the solid comfort of your own resting space wrapping securely around you. You are completely safe from the demands of the waking hours, free to simply enjoy the quiet luxury of lying completely still in the protective shadows. Within this new, sprawling environment, the familiar routines of physical maintenance take on a much softer, more expansive rhythm. The focus shifts slightly from simply enduring the harsh elements to actively absorbing the soothing, therapeutic warmth of the dry Spanish air. It is another way of seeing the same idea of biological harmony, where the internal temperature of the resting body perfectly matches the welcoming conditions of the outside world. There is no harsh friction here, only a gentle, sliding transition from the active sunlight directly into the quiet, starry night. As the city around him slowly prepares for its late, quiet dinners, the athlete is already moving deeper into his highly structured sanctuary of rest. The heavy training of the afternoon has been securely filed away in the mind, leaving nothing behind but a satisfying, warm exhaustion that demands total stillness. The dry breeze gently rustles the broad leaves outside the open window, carrying the faint, earthy scent of sun-baked clay and distant olive groves. This delicate fragrance acts as yet another natural anchor, quietly signaling to the nervous system that the time for exertion has definitively passed. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the vast, clear sky over Madrid is already massive enough to hold all the complexities of the day. You can simply let your thoughts drift along with the warm currents of air, feeling lighter and more peaceful with every passing minute. With every breath, the resting heart rate continues to drop, settling into a low, predictable drumbeat that echoes softly in the chest. The mind becomes completely untangled, leaving behind the loud echoes of the massive Spanish stadiums and finding absolute refuge in the solitary, silent dark. As we drift a little deeper, the warm evening eventually surrenders to the cooler, heavier shadows of midnight. The gentle transition from the warm outdoor air to the deliberate, clinical cold of the indoor recovery pools is waiting for us just ahead. We are ready now to leave the dry winds of the courtyard and step into the chilling, deep peace of the inner recovery rooms. The journey will take us softly into the remarkable science of physical restoration, where cold water and total silence work together to rebuild the tired muscles before the sun rises again. Leaving the lingering warmth of the Spanish courtyard behind, we step quietly into the highly controlled environment of the inner recovery rooms. The air in this clinical space is perfectly still and intentionally chilled, standing in sharp, refreshing contrast to the heavy heat of the city outside. Now imagine a small, dimly lit room containing a single pool of perfectly still, freezing water. The surface is glassy and completely undisturbed, waiting patiently to absorb the deep physical fatigue that has accumulated inside the muscles over the long day. Take a slow breath and let your jaw unclench as you picture the slow, deliberate descent into this chilling sanctuary. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the sudden, biting cold immediately forces the rushing mind to drop every single thought and focus entirely on the present second. Scientists noticed that when the human body is submerged in freezing water, the blood vessels naturally begin to constrict and tighten in response. This is a quiet, biological mechanism designed to protect the vital organs, gently pushing the heavy, tired blood away from the exhausted limbs and toward the center of the chest. And this connects back to the profound science of cellular healing, a process that thrives in conditions of absolute stillness. By intentionally creating this brief, intense cold, The athlete effectively flushes the microscopic waste from his muscle fibers, preparing them to be completely washed clean. When the athlete finally steps out of the freezing water and wraps himself in a thick, heavy towel, the biological magic quietly reverses. The blood vessels slowly open back up, allowing a rush of fresh, oxygen-rich blood to flow smoothly back into the chilled legs and arms. It is another way of seeing the same idea of a deep, internal reset, where the body is artificially paused and then allowed to gently restart. The sensation of warmth returning to the skin is incredibly soothing, wrapping the physical form in a heavy, comforting blanket of pure relaxation. For a moment, let that idea rest as you feel the pleasant, heavy warmth spreading slowly through your own resting limbs. You are perfectly safe inside your comfortable room, supported entirely by the soft mattress that catches the weight of your tired muscles. Evidence suggests that this strict adherence to physical recovery is the true secret behind decades of unbroken, effortless movement. The architecture of discipline extends far beyond the wet grass of the training pitch, moving deeply into the quiet, unglamorous hours of maintaining the human machine in the dark. Another quiet detail is how the profound silence of the ice bath trains the mind to remain completely calm under intense physical pressure. By learning to sit peacefully inside the freezing water, the nervous system learns that it can comfortably endure temporary discomfort without ever needing to panic or rush. The heavy lights in the recovery center are eventually turned off one by one, leaving the quiet water of the pools to settle perfectly flat once again. The physical work of healing has been set into motion, continuing its silent repairs long after the conscious mind has finally drifted away into sleep. As we drift a little deeper into the night, we leave the chilled waters behind and focus entirely on the slow, rhythmic rising and falling of the chest. We are ready now to explore the delicate mechanics of breathing, discovering how controlling the air can calm a racing heart in the middle of a massive storm. Far away from the lingering heat of the Spanish capital, the journey moves into a highly controlled, clinical environment dedicated entirely to restoration. The atmosphere inside these private recovery rooms is perfectly still and deliberately chilled, creating a sharp, refreshing boundary between the working day and the healing night. At the center of this quiet space rests a small pool of freezing water, its surface completely glassy and undisturbed in the dim, calming light. It sits waiting patiently to absorb the deep physical fatigue that has accumulated within the muscle fibers over hours of intense, rhythmic exertion. Take a slow breath and allow your shoulders to drop as you picture the slow, deliberate descent into this chilling sanctuary. The sudden temperature change forces the rushing mind to instantly abandon all complex thoughts, anchoring the athlete's focus entirely on the quiet reality of the present second. We know through modern observation that when the human body is submerged in such extreme cold, the blood vessels naturally begin to constrict and tighten. This quiet biological defense mechanism gently pushes the heavy, tired blood away from the exhausted limbs, carrying away microscopic waste and protecting the vital core. And this connects back to the core philosophy of his entire career, where true longevity is found in the unglamorous, silent hours of daily maintenance. By intentionally embracing the chilling water, the physical form is systematically washed clean of the day's heavy strain, preparing the resting cells for a peaceful, undisturbed recovery. When the athlete finally steps out of the pool and wraps himself in a thick, warm towel, a beautiful biological reversal quietly begins to take place. The pathways slowly open back up, allowing a soothing rush of fresh, oxygen-rich blood to flow smoothly back into the chilled legs and arms. It is another way of seeing the same idea of a deep, internal reset, where the body is artificially paused so that it can gently and safely restart. The sensation of warmth slowly returning to the skin is incredibly comforting, wrapping the physical frame in a heavy blanket of pure, earned relaxation. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the heavy lifting of the healing process is completely automatic and requires absolutely no conscious direction. You are perfectly safe inside your own comfortable room, supported entirely by the soft mattress that catches the weight of your own tired muscles. The heavy lights in the recovery center are eventually turned off one by one, leaving the quiet water of the pools to settle perfectly flat once again. The physical work of cellular repair has been set into motion, continuing its silent, invisible mending long after the conscious mind has finally drifted away into sleep. As we drift a little deeper into the night, we leave the chilled waters behind and gently shift our focus toward the internal rhythms of the resting chest. We are ready now to explore the delicate mechanics of breathing, discovering how controlling the air can calm a racing heart in the middle of a massive storm. Moving away from the chilling calm of the recovery pools, the focus shifts to an entirely internal sanctuary. Before the physical body can perform at its absolute peak, the invisible, quiet rhythm of the expanding chest must be perfectly regulated. The modern game is filled with overwhelming noise, from the roaring of thousands of voices to the bright, blinding glare of the stadium lights. To survive this intense external pressure, the mind requires a deeply reliable anchor, which is found in the simple, steady drawing of air into the lungs. Take a slow breath and let the day fade a little more as you notice the natural rise and fall of your own shoulders. You are resting safely in your room, sharing the exact same biological mechanism that brings a highly focused athlete back to a state of complete, quiet center. We know through observation that a deliberate, deep exhale acts as a natural brake for the human nervous system. When the heart begins to race in anticipation, manually slowing the breath forces the rushing pulse to drop, gently sweeping away the surrounding chaos of the moment. Picture the athlete standing perfectly still on the bright green grass, momentarily separating himself from the swirling, fast-paced motion of the match. The wide shoulders rise high and then drop heavily, releasing a long, controlled stream of air that physically pushes any remaining tension straight out of the tired muscles. This quiet, solitary pause echoes the thousands of hours spent bouncing a worn football against an old wooden door back in Madeira. It is a profound narrowing of the waking world, shrinking a massive global event down to nothing more than a single resting person and a patiently waiting ball. When the fresh oxygen finally floods the bloodstream, it provides a soothing clarity that allows the physical form to move with pure, unburdened instinct. The conscious mind no longer needs to analyze the complicated angles or worry about the final outcome, because the calm body already knows exactly what it needs to do. As the slow, measured breaths continue to guide the evening, we naturally drift toward a state of complete and effortless motion. We are preparing to step into the quiet mystery of the flow state, where time seems to beautifully slow down and the heavy work simply happens entirely on its own. Stepping beyond the conscious control of breath, the athlete enters a rare and beautiful space of pure, unburdened instinct. The waking mind finally steps aside entirely, allowing the deeply insulated pathways of the nervous system to take full command of the heavy physical work. Take a slow breath and let the day fade a little more as you picture this profound sense of internal glide. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because conscious effort has been completely replaced by a smooth, automatic rhythm that requires absolutely no heavy thought. When an athlete reaches this quiet state of flow, the perception of the surrounding world begins to gently change and beautifully soften. The thousands of cheering voices fade into a low, distant hum, and the chaotic movement of the grass pitch suddenly feels incredibly slow and highly predictable. We know from quiet observation that during these moments of peak immersion, the human brain actually uses much less energy rather than more. By silencing the anxious, analytical centers of the mind, the physical form is completely freed to perform complex, elegant movements with a calm and effortless grace. And this connects back to the misty, silent mornings spent alone on the academy fields in Lisbon, where every single touch of the ball was carefully memorized in the dark. The countless hours of solitary repetition have finally bloomed into a masterpiece of motion, unfolding peacefully in the center of a massive, illuminated arena. Now imagine watching the player move smoothly across the damp grass, completely untethered from the heavy gravity of the surrounding expectations. Controlling the heavy leather ball becomes a silent, fluid dance where every step and sharp turn happens exactly when it is supposed to, without even a fraction of hesitation. Let your jaw unclench and feel the solid comfort of your resting space supporting you as you gently let go of your own waking control. You are perfectly safe to surrender to the heavy pull of sleep, trusting that your resting biology knows exactly how to carry you securely through the long night. It is another way of seeing the same idea of total surrender, where giving up the desperate need to constantly steer actually leads to the most perfect and peaceful navigation. The player is no longer forcing the game to happen, but simply allowing those ancient, practiced habits to quietly express themselves in the open evening air. As the intense focus of the evening gracefully concludes, this beautiful state of flow leaves behind a deep, satisfying warmth resting heavily inside the exhausted muscles. We are ready now to drift a little deeper, preparing to leave the familiar Spanish climate and travel slowly toward the softly rolling, quiet hills of northern Italy. Leaving the warm, dry plateau of the Spanish capital, the long journey quietly continues toward the dramatic and beautiful landscapes of northern Italy. The wide, open skies slowly give way to the towering, snow-capped peaks of the Alps, standing silently as ancient guardians over the entire region. This is the historic city of Turin, resting peacefully at the very bottom of the deep mountain valleys. The air here holds a distinct, crisp chill as the evening approaches, moving gently through the tall, dark cypress trees that carefully line the quiet, winding roads. Take a slow breath and let the day fade a little more as you picture the soft twilight settling over these gentle Italian hills. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the deep valleys have been resting quietly in these shadows for thousands of years, completely undisturbed by the rushing modern world. Evidence suggests that being surrounded by massive natural structures, like the heavy stone of the mountains, naturally humbles the human mind and encourages a deep sense of internal peace. When the waking eyes look up and see the unchanging peaks, the nervous system stops worrying about small daily tasks and simply surrenders to the vastness of the natural environment. And this connects back to the steep, volcanic cliffs of the island where this entire journey first began. After years of playing on flat, sprawling plains, the athlete returned to a landscape defined by its beautiful, heavy geography, finding a deeply familiar comfort in the dark shadow of the high earth. Now imagine the thick, cooling fog that often rolls down from the alpine glaciers as the sun finally disappears for the night. It creeps slowly across the empty training pitches, wrapping the green grass in a soft, soundproof blanket that completely absorbs the noise of the surrounding, sleeping city. Within this muffled, grey sanctuary, the physical movements of the game become incredibly quiet and highly deliberate. The heavy leather ball glides through the mist almost silently, creating a peaceful, isolated space where the only visible thing is the few yards of damp earth immediately ahead of the resting feet. Let your jaw unclench and feel the solid comfort of the mattress safely anchoring you in your own quiet room. You are perfectly insulated from the outside world, just as the athlete is safely hidden inside the thick, protective layer of the cool mountain fog. It is another way of seeing the same idea of narrowing your focus to find true and lasting rest. When the distant horizon is completely obscured by the evening mist, there is no need to look too far into the future, allowing the mind to happily exist entirely in the quiet simplicity of the present second. The local culture of this northern region deeply respects the slow, deliberate passage of time. Evenings here are never rushed, and the critical art of physical recovery is treated with the exact same quiet reverence as the ancient architecture that fills the cobblestone squares. For a moment, let that idea rest as you feel the heavy, calming weight of a truly restful night approaching your own shores. The physical body is allowed to adapt gracefully to the passing years, supported by an environment that values deep wisdom and slow, careful maintenance over sudden, chaotic bursts of energy. As the Italian night grows fully dark, the damp fog settles heavily over the sleeping valleys, providing a perfect, cooling cover for the exhausted muscles. We are ready now to drift a little deeper into the final stages of the global journey, preparing to leave Europe behind and move toward the vast, starlit silence of the deep desert night. Leaving the cool, misty valleys of the Italian mountains far behind, the long journey quietly crosses the world once again toward the vast, open sands of the Arabian Peninsula. The heavy European winters are gently replaced by the dry, enduring warmth of the desert, creating a completely new and peaceful chapter in the late stages of this massive global path. Take a slow breath and let the day fade a little more as you picture the profound, unbroken silence of the deep desert night. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the endless, rolling dunes have been resting in perfect stillness for millions of years. We know through quiet observation that gazing up into a massive, perfectly clear night sky naturally humbles the human mind and dramatically lowers our internal stress. Away from the heavy moisture of the coast, the the dry desert atmosphere allows the ancient stars to burn with an incredibly steady, calming silver light. And this connects back to the quiet, isolated shores of the island where the bouncing ball first taught the resting mind how to find its center. The external environment has completely transformed into a sea of quiet sand, but the internal architecture of discipline remains exactly the same as it was in the very beginning. Now, imagine a perfectly manicured green pitch resting like a small emerald oasis directly in the middle of the dark, sleeping desert. The dry evening air slowly absorbs the intense heat of the waking day, leaving behind a beautifully balanced, comfortable warmth that wraps gently around the tired muscles. Another quiet detail is how the heavy leather ball sounds entirely different as it moves across this warm, dry earth. The sharp, echoing thud of the damp European stadiums is beautifully softened here, replaced by a low, rhythmic heartbeat that travels peacefully out into the empty, sandy horizon. Let your jaw unclench and feel the solid comfort of your mattress safely supporting your own tired frame in the dark. You are perfectly insulated from the demands of the waking world, securely held in your room, just as the quiet pitch is safely cradled by the massive, resting desert. It is another way of seeing the same idea of a graceful, ongoing evolution, where the frantic pace of the early years slowly matures into a deep, highly measured wisdom. The athlete no longer needs to rush or force the game to happen, relying instead on decades of insulated muscle memory to guide the physical body with pure, effortless efficiency. As the desert night continues to deepen, the bright stadium lights finally begin to power down, slowly handing the quiet oasis back over to the vast, starlit sky. We are ready now to drift into the absolute final stage of this long journey, preparing to watch the global rhythm completely wind down and sink into the heaviest, most restorative sleep. As we step back from the warm sands of the desert, we can finally see how this one quiet journey has rippled outward to touch every corner of the globe. Because the Earth is always turning, the sun is always setting somewhere, meaning that the quiet routine of rest and recovery is continuously moving across the continents. Take a slow breath and let the day fade a little more as you feel the vast and calming scale of this global rhythm. There is nothing you need to solve right now because you are safely held within a world that completely understands the deep necessity of slowing down. We know through quiet observation that the echoes of a filled, roaring stadium never last forever in the dark air. No matter how massive or important the evening was, the bright lights always eventually power down, and the thousands of voices simply fade back into the comforting, heavy silence of the night. And this connects back to the quiet, isolated streets of the island, where the only audience was the resting ocean and the worn cobblestones. The athlete has traveled to the absolute heights of human attention, yet the most important hours are still spent in total isolation, perfectly insulated by the steady mechanics of muscle memory. Let your jaw unclench and feel the heavy weight of your own body sinking completely into the soft mattress beneath you. The long journey across the damp grass, the freezing rain, and the dry plateaus is finally over, and the busy world is entirely winding down to sleep. Now imagine looking out at the massive stadium as the heavy, industrial lights are turned off one by one in a slow and predictable sequence. The vibrant green of the pitch is gently swallowed by the soft shadows, returning the field to its natural state of dark, undisturbed earth. Evidence suggests that watching a large space go completely dark sends a powerful, primitive signal to the human nervous system to finally let go. The architecture of discipline has completed its daily work, and there is absolutely no more energy required from the resting mind or the heavily exhausted limbs. It is another way of seeing the same idea of a completed circle, where the intense effort of the waking hours perfectly earns the deep, restorative peace of the late night. The physical form has given everything it had to give, and now it gently surrenders to the quiet biological science of cellular healing in the absolute dark. There is nothing you need to solve right now, because the natural mechanics of the night are the only things left to watch over your heavy rest. You are sharing this exact same peace, wrapped safely in the calm and steady silence of your own familiar room, drifting further and further away from the waking hours. If we return to that simple picture of the dark Atlantic water, we remember that the heavy tides simply roll on, completely indifferent to the complex achievements of the day. You can simply rest as a quiet passenger on this turning planet, entirely supported by the ancient, reliable cycles of nature and time. If you are still awake, you can subscribe to Sleepy Night channel for more calm night journeys like this. That was 100 calm facts about Cristiano Ronaldo. Now the sound will continue for a while, so you can fall asleep. Good night.